Okay. So it's been a minute since I've done one of these. This is a producer ramble where I just kind of talk at the camera while I'm on my drive home. So, just had an interesting interaction with a player, and it made me realize that there are things about the 3rd edition rule set that I want to be real out loud and clear about. And that's our intent behind the changes to the healing and recovery interactions, specifically the wounded descriptor and the aid descriptor and how those things interact. Not necessarily in a rules sense, because I hope that's pretty clear and straightforward, but more on the intent behind it and the intent on the changes to the pacing of fighting and kind of LARP combat in general, really. Without doing a lot of nitty-gritty rules interactions and kind of self-flagellation on what I feel like the 2nd edition system did wrong, yellow light. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Okay. One of the primary changes between 2nd and 3rd edition is the addition of the wounded descriptor and the aid effect, which removes that wounded descriptor. And the majority of healing in the game, in terms of skill-based healing, not crafting healing, is going to take minutes of time, longer periods of time than we have ever done. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One of the primary reasons for that is to reduce what's referred to as recycling in combat. And specifically, recycling is referring to a fighter being injured in-game, not out-of-game, obviously, and getting to a point where they feel like their character's continued life and health are threatened, having to remove themselves from that fighting, go and either receive healing from a mobile healer or go and find a static position healer, receive that healing and or armor refresh, and then get back to the fight. In 2nd edition, there were a lot of self-healing skills where a character could heal themselves, and the healing action timer, for lack of a better term at this point, kind of across the board was very short. And as it turned out, what that meant in reality, in actual practice, was that there was little to no combat recycling at all. A fighter could either keep themselves on the front lines or in the active fighting portion of a fight nearly indefinitely until they just drop dead, or the healing interaction took such little time that the healers themselves were doing very little other than just saying the rules calls out loud, touching somebody, and then that fighter was able to get back into the fight. That's not really that's neither here, it's neither a good thing nor a bad thing. That's just the situation of how the rules functioned on paper versus how the rules functioned practically in real life, in real life situations when the adrenaline is up and the adrenaline is pumping. And it meant a couple of things. It meant in Chapter 1, with the first edition of the rules, our healers were superstars. They got some really amazing spotlight roleplay moments, and there are really good stories, which is really what we're all after, in regards to those moments of the healing interaction between players. And unfortunately, second edition basically did away with all of that, and our healing characters became pretty much just vending machines of heal, and then the fighters would run back off into the fight. And that was not a feels-good moment for the healing characters, because that's supposed to be the moment when they get to shine. And it actually created an environment of less physical safety for everyone involved in a physical fight. Because what it meant was fighters never got a break. Fighters were either fighting all the time, non-stop, or they were down and dead and dying. And because of the inflated numbers in second edition, what it really meant is that fighters were fighting for a really long time, and getting very tired, and because of that, fatigue sets in, and a couple of things happen. One, they are less able to keep track of the math that they need to be able to keep track of. Even at low numbers, fatigue sets in very quickly, and being able to keep track of your health and armor and potential offensive attacks and defenses against those attacks gets really complicated really quickly. And if you're non-stop fighting, it's very easy to lose track of all of that. And both the fighters and the NPCs against those fighters had very valid complaints that it was A, difficult to keep track of, and B, not keeping track of those things accurately makes things very unfun for the monsters as well. So one of the things that I was really focused on for the third edition rules was stretching that cycle out as much as I could possibly do it. And going to Dragonfest in 2024 really opened my eyes to a fun way that that can happen. And the solution that we fell upon is focusing on that spotlight moment between the healer character and the wounded character. And specifically what I'm talking about is treating the interaction between the healer character and the wounded character as a scene all on its own. From the moment the wounded character decides, I've got to get off the line, I've got to go either find a healer at a field hospital nearby or find a mobile medic to get that moment, that scene of the healing interaction between me and them, that starts a new scene in terms of the dramatic moments of the game. Excuse me. And the way... Sorry, I'm making the left-hand turn, so I'm focusing here. The way we are going about that is by making those timers, those healing timers, longer and encouraging everyone involved to use that time involved in the most immersive, in-character, and fun ways that you can. One of the things we're going to be doing real soon is my lovely wife, who plays a healer at Drakenfest and probably at Britannis now, is going to be getting all kitted up, and we're going to do a couple of videoed healing scenes of her using her character skills according to the Britannis rules to demonstrate the kind of cool stuff that a healer character and a wounded character can get into when they are having that healing scene, to utilize the time required for the healing in a fun, cool way that everyone's going to remember. Because what we ultimately want and what you ultimately come to a Britannis event for is those role-playing moments, and it requires everybody to be focused on the moment, the fact that you have the opportunity to view every interaction between you and another character as a new scene. And those scenes then become collaborative, dramatic moments that everybody gets to fill. And as a fighter player myself, being able to, one, get a break from the fight, be able to take a breath and slow my heart rate down for a couple of minutes while the healer is working on me, is fantastic. I get to recenter myself. I get to make sure that my head is in the game, literally and figuratively. I get to make sure that I'm clear on what my math is, and I get to physically take a breather. Whether I'm sitting down, kneeling, laying down, whatever, while the healer is working on me, I am not actively being swung at or doing the swinging with my weapons. So I get to physically take a breather and make sure that I get something to drink and maybe even something to eat while that's going on. But I also get to severely ham it up and get to roleplay being the character who is being worked on. And even though at Drakenfest I play a surly, curmudgeonly free dwarf character, I can still like bite down on the stick while she's stitching me, or scream when she sets the bone that's broken, or whatever that might be, and create those memorable scenes with my scene partner, who at that point is the person who is working on me. So I'm almost home, but I just wanted to talk for a little bit about that paradigm that we're really going to be pushing for 3rd edition, is that every interaction between you and another player, whether that be a player character or an NPC, is a new scene. So whenever you engage a new monster, that is a new scene between you and that character, or that other player, and you get to fill that with the coolest moments you can come up with. Likewise, when you change from fight mode to go get healed mode, that is a new scene. You then have an opportunity to interact with that healing character and create awesome, memorable moments that then later you get to tell around the fire and remember for the rest of your life. So that's my producer ramble, and I'll talk to you guys later.